Hey everyone, my name is Ben and welcome to Codeyard. This is a full course for JavaScript essential concepts. This series of videos will help you understand JS concepts from the easiest, such as Console.log, to the difficult ones such as closures and asynchronous JS. Before we dive in, I want to have a quick chat with you. My goal is to make learning JavaScript as easy as possible. I'll do my best to break down concepts in a simple way so that you can grasp them easily. Throughout this course, we'll build plenty of mini projects to reinforce everything we learn. I'll also challenge you with coding exercises and we'll solve them together. Now, let me be honest with you. Learning any programming languages, especially JavaScript, requires patience and dedication. I don't want to discourage you, but I want to set realistic expectations. There will be challenges along the way, but those who face them head-on and push through will become great programmers. You might encounter bumps in the road, but if you follow the course video by video, complete all the challenges and projects, I promise you will become a JavaScript programmer. The key is consistency. Don't give up. Also, start coding from the very beginning. Don't just watch the videos. Get your hands dirty with actual coding. This is the best way to learn faster and improve your skills. So grab your laptop, turn on your PC, and let's get started together. In the first step, let's shortly answer to this question. What is JavaScript? JavaScript is the heartbeat of the web. It's a programming language that brings websites to life, making them dynamic, interactive, and intelligent. Whenever you click a button, see animations, or use forms online, that's JavaScript working behind the scenes. But it doesn't stop there. Today, JavaScript is everywhere, from building web applications to powering mobile apps, creating interactive games, and even running on servers with Node.js. It's shaping the modern digital world. Big companies like Google, Facebook, and Netflix are using JavaScript to develop their platforms. Now, before we jump into coding, let's make sure we have the right tools to learn JavaScript efficiently. First, we need a code editor, something that makes writing and organizing our JavaScript code easier. For this, I highly recommend Visual Studio Code. It's lightweight, fast, and packed with powerful features that help us write better code. Plus, it has great extensions that make working with JavaScript even smoother. To get started, simply go to visualstudio.com and download VS Code for your operating system. Install it and you're good to go. Next, we need a browser to run and test our JavaScript code. The best option is Google Chrome. It's fast, secure, and comes with built-in developer tools that let us debug and inspect our code easily. If you don't already have Chrome, go to google.com/Chrome and download it. Once installed, we'll be ready to write and test JavaScript in real time. So, get VS Code and Chrome installed, and in the next video we'll start coding together. Let's do this. Alright, now in order to download VS Code, you're gonna have to click on the download link which is related to your operating system. Mine is Windows. If you're Mac, you should click on this one, and if you're Linux, you should click on these ones. So I'm going to click on Windows, and you should see a screen like this. Thanks for downloading this code, and the download shortly begins. Now let's wait so the download is finished. Now when the download is done, you should click on the setup icon, and you can see this wizard. You're going to accept the agreement and click on next. If you want to create desktop icon, if you want the VS Code to be on the VS Code icon to be on your desktop, you should click this one. Otherwise, just click on next, and finally you click on install. Now I'm not going to click on install because I already installed VS Code. So if you haven't already installed it, just click on this one and finish the installation process. Now let's open VS Code by clicking on the icon. This is the application environment. On the sidebar, the first icon is called Explorer. Clicking on it opens the File Explorer. By selecting Open Folder, you can create a folder for your project. Let's create one on the desktop. Name it Test, and then click Select Folder. Now we are ready to go. In this Explorer, we can create our files such as index.html, style.css, and script.js. Now, before we move on, there is another tab I want to talk about in this sidebar, and that is extension. If you click on extension, you can see that I have already installed some extensions, and let me zoom out. The extensions that we need for this course, actually we need ES7. Let me make it smaller and make this one bigger. We need ES7 plus React, Redux, React Native snippets. And then the next one, you need to install Live Server. And if you haven't already installed them, here you have an install button, but since I already installed these extensions, I see disable and uninstall. And the next one is Prettier. Where is it? It's here, Prettier. It helps you to write cleaner code, and it is a very useful tool. And this one is not necessary, but you can install GitHub theme. It makes your code color exactly like mine. If you can install it if you like. It is not necessary. So that's it. Now let's go back to the Explorer. I'm gonna click on my HTML index.html. I'm going to create my HTML snippets. Inside the body tags, I create an h1 tag, and inside that I'm going to write hello JavaScript. Very well. If you have Live Server installed, you should see this icon go live under your VS Code. If I click on it, it runs my project, and you can see hello world here. Now, this is going to be our work environment. So please install all the extensions I told you. Now, the live server is very helpful because if I make any changes, if I, for example, erase this hello and save my file using Control S, you don't have to refresh. It just shows you the changes after each Control S you push. H2, hello, JavaScript again. And here you can see that the changes are going to take place after each time you save your files. Now we're good to go, and in the next session we're going to start with the basics of JavaScript. Let's go. Hi everyone, welcome back to CodeYard. In this video, we're diving into one of the most essential tools in JavaScript, the console and Console.log. If you're learning JavaScript, mastering this will make debugging and testing your code so much easier. The console is like our coding diary, a place where we can output messages, debug errors, and track what's happening in our code. Every browser has a built-in console, and we can access it easily. Now to do that, let's create an index.html file and a script.js. Now, in this HTML file, let's create the HTML snippets using the exclamation mark. Now, as you can see, this is the JavaScript tutorial. I'm going to name my title JavaScript tutorial, and now inside the body tag I'm going to create an h1, and inside that I'm going to write JavaScript tutorial and CodeYard. Very good. Now let's run the project using Live Server. Very good. The project is live now, and I'm going to open my console using right click on Google Chrome and clicking on inspect. Now you can see that this screen is at the right. This Elementor screen is at the right. This is the console. You can click on these three dots and you can make your console go down of the browser, downside of the browser. Now, I like it better. I think this is better for my console to be down the page. So let's click on console and let's refresh the page. Now, as you can see, we have no errors here. So this is the console area. Now, how we can test it? In order to test it, we're gonna first connect our script file to our HTML file. So let's create a script tag at the bottom of our HTML snippets here, and right above the ending body tag, and here we should use the attribute of src, and we're going to use / in order to find this script.js here in our root directory, and let's save. Now let's go to our script.js, and here let's learn our first thing, which is Console.log. Now, let's talk about Console.log. This is one of the most commonly used functions in JavaScript. It allows us to print information to console, which is super useful for debugging and checking values. Now, imagine if I save this, nothing happens because I didn't put anything inside Console.log. But if I write 1, 2, 3 and Control S, save, you can see that 1, 2, 3 is showing inside my console. Now, if I erase this one and put the string marks, and in the next videos, we're going to talk about data types in JavaScript, but don't worry for now, just focus on Console.log. If I write hello JavaScript, you can see that we have here the string of JavaScript, and everything you put right here, it's gonna show itself inside console. For example, if I write true here, it's gonna show true. Now that is it. That was all about Console.log. It was a very simple, and it was the first function and the first concept that we learned in JavaScript. But before we end this video, because it was so short, I'm going to add something else in JavaScript, and that is actually comments. In this video, we also need to learn comments and how do we use them. In JavaScript, comments are used to add notes to your code without affecting its functionality. They help explain logic, improve readability, and serve as reminders. There are two types of comments. The first one is a single line, which actually you can use double slashes to create a comment like that. For example, we can write this is a Console.log function, and also if I put 1, 2, 3 here, you can see 1, 2, 3 are there, but a comment is not gonna do anything to your code. As I told you before, this is just for your coding readability, and it is just serving you as a reminder. And there are also multi-line comments which you can create easily by using 2 asterisks here and one slash here, 1 asterisk, again 1 asterisk and 1 slash here as the closing one. And inside that you can write a lot of lines, and nothing's gonna happen if you write these codes. I mean, JavaScript, if you write these ones outside the comments, JavaScript is going to give you an error. JavaScript doesn't know what you're doing with these lines, and it says I can't recognize what the hell are these. But if you put them inside comments, as I showed you before, so let me put these inside comments. Now you can see that you don't have any errors, and JavaScript just realizes that this is a comment you wanted to just organize your code. For example, if you have blocks of code, this is the first block, and for example, needs to be completed. And This is the second block. It has already been tested. For example, they are not what actually developers write. I just want to show you some examples that these comments do not do anything specific. They are just they are ignored by the JavaScript engine and are purely for human readability, and they're essential for writing maintainable and understandable code. Now in the next video, we're going to talk about different data types in JavaScript, and we're going to use Console.log more. Let's go. Hey, what's going on, guys? In this video, we're going to talk about variables and data types. Now, variables in JavaScript are used to store and manage data within a program. They act as name containers that hold values which can be updated or retrieved as needed. JavaScript provides different ways to declare variables: let, const, and var, each with distinct rules for scope and behavior. Variables are fundamental for creating dynamic and interactive web applications. Before ES 2015, also known as ECMAScript 6, JavaScript primarily used var to declare variables. However, let and const were introduced to provide better control over variable scope and improve code readability. Unlike var, which is function scope and can lead to unexpected behavior, let and const follow block scope, making them more predictable. For now, we won't dive into the difference between let and const, but don't worry, we'll explore them in details when we get there. Stay tuned. Now, let's go for variables. Now, I'm gonna define my first variable using the keyword var, and this is gonna be first name, and I'm gonna name it John Doe. Now if I want to print this variable inside console, all I have to do is to use console.log, which we learned about last session, and I'm gonna write the name of the variable inside the parentheses right here. Now you can see that we have John Doe right here. If I say let age, and if I assign it to 22, if I console.log age, you see number 22 right here. Now let me talk about naming conventions a little bit in JavaScript. In JavaScript, variables names should be clear, descriptive, and follow certain conventions to maintain readability and consistency. They typically use camel case for multi-word names, such as user name. As you can see, that U is not capitalized, is small, but name is capitalized. And name cannot start with numbers. It's totally wrong, and must not include spaces or special characters, except for underscore, which is actually totally fine if you want to use. And reserved keywords should also be avoided. And consistent naming helps keep code structured and easier to understand. Now let me show you how many ways are there that you can name your variables. Let me erase all of them. If you want to create a variable called first name, the first one is actually John Doe. The first one, this one actually is called the camel case. And camel case means that the first letter of the variable is not big, it's not capitalized, but because you can't put spaces in variables, not allowed. But when you get to the second word, you must actually write the first letter capitalized. So for example, if you have a long variable name, for example, do your homework. So this is what we call camel case. Do, the first letter is not capitalized, but after that you have you, home, and homework. This is just one word. Do your, so Y is capitalized, and homework, home is H is here capitalized. So this is what we call camel case. Now there is another one. Now if I console log first name or do your homework, you can see that both of them are here in the console and there is no error. It means that this naming is totally fine by JavaScript. And this is actually the convention. This is the most used case by JavaScript programmers. There's another one, which is Pascal case. In Pascal case, you must actually write both words capitalized. So if you want to create a variable called first name, you should write it like this: first name, and then we assign it to Jane Doe. Now, if I console log first name, as you can see, JavaScript is 100% letter sensitive. So if there is a big difference between first name with small f and first name with capitalized F. So you can see that they are two different variables, because if you have two variables with the same name, you're gonna definitely get an error. Let first name, if I make it another time, Jane Smith, now you can see that there is an error, and I'm gonna have an error here. Identifier first name has already been declared, so you cannot give one name to two variables at the same time. So I'm going to delete this one, and we realize that there is a difference between first name with a small f and first name with capitalized F. Now you can also use underscores. This is something that programmers in PHP, I've seen them using this a lot. So you can say let first name, and we say Tom, for example. Now if I say console log first name, you can see that Tom's there and there's no error. That means that camel case, Pascal case, and underscore, they are totally fine if you want to use them. But as I told you before, camel case is the convention, and this is the most used case by JavaScript programmers. But it doesn't matter. It just depends on your style, and you're totally free to choose your own programming style. Now that we are done with variables, and now that we learned how to define a variable, let's go for data types. I'm going to start with the numbers. Now I'm going to use let, and I would say let age is equal to 25. Now if I console.log age, as you can see, this 25 is in my console. Now if I want to know what type is my variable, all I need to use type of age. Now if I ask JavaScript what the type of this variable is, it gives me the type of variable. So I can say type of age, and then I can put a comma and say console.log age itself. Now here I have the variable itself and the value inside it, and here I can see what type of variable is that. Now I'm gonna create another variable, and this is gonna be a string. Let first name, as I showed you before, it's gonna be John Doe. So I would say now show me the type of first name and show me the first name itself. Now it says this is a string, and inside this string variable we have John Doe. The next one is the Boolean, which is always either true or false. So if I say let is done, we can assign it to true. And if I say type of is done and is done itself, it says that this is a Boolean, and inside that we have true. You can set it to false. For example, this is very useful, this kind of data type. For example, if you have a to-do application, if it's done, you can show true, so the task is done. But if it's false, it means that the task is not yet done. So you can just modify your task like that. Now there is a type in JavaScript called undefined, which means that something is not defined. This is a variable that has been declared but hasn't been assigned to a value. For example, let me show you let last name, but I'm not gonna assign it to anything. So if I say what is the type of last name, and if I told the console to show the last name, it's gonna give me the type of undefined, and this is undefined. This is because we actually declared a variable, but we didn't assign it to a value. If I say last name is equal to hello, it's gonna show me a string, and this is a hello. If I say last name is false, it says this is Boolean and this is false. But if I say let last name and I don't assign it to anything, it just shows me undefined. And there are many ways that you can just get undefined in JavaScript, and we're going to talk about them later. Another one is null. And the null is actually empty. So it represents, for example, if I say let select item should be null. So this is actually, let me console.log here, select item. It says this is an object, so I have to tell you that the type of null is actually an object. About that we're going to talk about later in depth, but it's going to show you the value as null. So this is something that the programmer does intentionally. For example, I have a variable. Sometimes I want to have this variable to have something inside it, a string, a number, and so on. But sometimes I want it to be null. Now the next one is an object. Now, how do we define an object? We say let person, we use equal, and then we use curly braces. And inside curly braces, we can use items such as name, and then you actually set this name right here. You use colons, and then inside this is strings. I'm going to write the name, John Doe. And then you don't use semicolons here. You use a comma, and you give it an age, and we say 25, and we say employed, for example. Is he employed or not? We're going to say false. No, he's not employed. Or true. Yes, he is employed. Now, if I ask what is the type of person and show me what inside person we have, it says the type is object, and inside person we have this object, as you can see. We have name John Doe, age 25, and employed true. So you can see that strings, number, boolean, you can just put them inside an object and keep them as data. Now let's go for arrays, which technically are objects. Arrays, and how you define arrays, you can say, for example, let ages, so this is plural, so you have to be careful. This is age, singular, but this is ages, so they're not going to intervent. Ages is equal to, you use brackets like that, then you use 22, 24, 35, so you can see that there are values inside that. You can just use commas to separate them, and 52 and 43. So this is ages, and if I say give me the type of ages and show me the ages, this is the type is object. As I told you that this is a special type of object that holds multiple values in an ordered list. We're going to talk about that later in depth. And this is how you actually see variables, and this is the index of variables. It starts from 0. So we have 5 items, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. We later use these indexes to manage these data inside variable. You can say this arrays. Now let's say, for example, we have let names. So we say John, Tom, Jill, and Thomas. So let's say, please console.log names. This is the object, and this is the array of strings: John, Tom, Jill, and Thomas. You can use you can put different data types inside an array. For example, let different types such as John, is equal to John. This is a string. Now 22, this is a number. True, this is a boolean. So now, as you can see, if I console.log this different types, now this is an object with John, string of John, the number of 22, and the boolean of true. Now we have the data type of big int. So you use it for to work with numbers, with very large numbers. For example, if we have, let's big number 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 8 9 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Now you can see that this number is very, very big, and this is not suitable for integer or number to handle such a huge number. So if I say show me the type of big number and show me the big number, it says that the type is big int, which means a very huge number, and it shows you the data inside the value. Now the last variable we're going to talk about is symbol, which is actually this is not a very used data type, but we're going to talk about that later in progressive JavaScript. So I'm going to say let unique ID is equal to symbol, and we say ID. Let me make it ID. Now if I say console.log unique ID, and you can see this is a symbol, but let me just ask the type of ID, the type of unique ID, this is a symbol. If I say show me unique ID, this is a symbol of ID. So we're going to talk about symbols later in depth, but now that let's just look over all the data types we learned: numbers, strings, booleans, undefined, null, and objects, and arrays, and big int, and symbol. Now through the projects we're going to do later, the challenges, we're going to use all of these data types and variables, and this is very important for us to understand which one to use and why. So the only thing that we just need to handle later is the difference between let and const. School is private school, for example, private school. So let me erase this console log and let me say console log school. You can see that console log works exactly like let, but there is definitely a big difference between let and const. As you know, the const means constant, so inside constant we're going to have a constant variable. It's not going to be different. So but we're going to talk about it later in depth. Now thank you so much guys for watching this video. Let's go to our next topic.